This video is going to introduce us to an activity from Desmos called the Polygraph, and we're going to kick things off by thinking back to a game that most of us probably played as kids. So think back to your childhood days playing Guess Who, where you would pick a person that was important to you, and then your partner had to try to guess which person you chose. They asked specific questions about their features, you answered yes or no based on what was true, and they eliminated options based on your answers. What you're watching right now is a digital version of this, where we're asking yes or no questions, answering a partner's questions, and using these answers to narrow it down to a specific person. And Desmos has created a version of this that can be used in any mathematics classroom. And let's not forget, we played this game for a reason as kids. There were key skills that we gained from it. We had to identify key features, we had to have a detailed analysis of distinguishing characteristics, and we had to develop questions with purpose. The activity is called a polygraph, and we're going to look at how to use it in your classroom. We're going to start by going to teacher.desmos.com. This is your homepage for all Desmos activities as a teacher. And if you haven't already created an account, you want to, or you can sign in, and there will be all your options. So here we can search, and there's a bunch of different activities that pop up. I'm going to click on Polygraph, and you can see just how many there are to choose from, ones that other teachers have created or ones created by Desmos. You can also search more specifically if there's a particular topic that you're learning and you'd like to try this with. In this case, I chose rational functions. Notice we've got one from Desmos and two from the community. So I'm going to choose one of the ones from the community. That means a teacher created it. And there's a lot of information accessible here. So you have a description, you can see the graphs that are in it, and then if you click Learn More, you can see what Polygraph is all about, how it's played, and the different experiences. So I'm going to hit Create a Class Code, and that's going to generate a class code for me. You'll want to create a different class code for each period that you run this. You can hit View Dashboard, and that will bring you to the screen that tells your students how to access this. So they'll type in that code at that link. You can also copy and paste this link and put it as a link on your website or send it to your students in some other way. But let's see how to access it with the code. So they'll go to student.desmos.com, and then they'll enter in that class code that you can display up on the board. They'll hit Join, and that will bring them to their main login screen. They don't need to have an account to do this, but if they do, they can sign in. And then here they're going to type in their name, and I always tell them real names so that I know who they are. This is going to bring them to that practice screen we did at the beginning of the session, but we can skip that because we've already gone through it. So this will connect them to a partner automatically. And that partner is going to be someone else in their session, so typically another student in the class. So once they select a graph, then their partner has to try to decide what question to ask. So let's look at it from the other partner's perspective. So they're going to see this kind of screen, and it's going to say your challenge to figure out what the other person's graph is, and they can only ask yes or no questions here. So this is a great time to emphasize mathematical vocabulary and terminology. In this case, I asked my first question about how many vertical asymptotes occurred, making sure that it was a yes or no question. Once they have that typed, they can hit send, and that question now gets sent to the first partner, and they're asked to wait until it's answered. So the first partner will be given the option yes, no, or I don't know. So if the question's not clear enough, that's a really good indication to that student. In this case, I said yes, because it does have more than one. And that student will see their partner's response. So now their job is to eliminate graphs based on their partner's response. Once they eliminate the ones they know are not correct, they're going to hit Eliminate Selected, and then they can start on their next question. And so the game sort of runs itself at that point. The students go back and forth, and they're going to keep questioning with yes or no questions until they finally narrow it down to just one option, and Desmos will let them know, hey, you found it. Nice work. From there, students are asked a series of questions to both aid them in some self-assessment of what strategies they used and to keep the classroom running if a student isn't ready to be matched with a new partner yet. This is great for management. Now we're going to take a look at the teacher experience of what this looks like from a teacher perspective. So this is the original teacher dashboard that popped up. We can cross that out to see more, But if you ever need to bring that back up, you can click this code and it will come right back up. So that's a great tool to have there. You can see your list of students here and you can see what they're doing, waiting for a partner, or whether they've already completed a match. And another great feature is that you can anonymize your students. So you can show information without giving away names. Now, you can also pause a session if you want to bring something to students' attention or you need to pause it for any reason. And then you can see what's going on in each individual game. So just by clicking on that, I can view the entire conversation and make sure that students are understanding and that they're being held accountable. I can also view the questions from between rounds. This is one example of the type of scaffolding I give my students to make sure that they're having successful mathematical conversations. As a group, we tried to generate some questions that we thought rocked and ones that we thought really stunk. The key difference here was our use of mathematical vocabulary, and that became very clear to my students as they began pointing that out to each other. So it's a great starting point to get them talking in a more sophisticated way. The last thing that I think makes this powerful is the fact that the kids really enjoy it. They thought that it really made them think about characteristics, it was fun and helped them strengthen their vocabulary, and they liked that they got to both ask and answer questions. They thought that that really strengthened their understanding of the content. Lastly, they really enjoyed the fact that they got to show their knowledge in a way other than just a quiz or a test. The whole activity created buy-in into using mathematical terminology, and it also helped build a sense of community and accountability among the students in the class where they could reinforce the concept without any teacher directive. I think this was a great activity and I highly encourage you to try it in your classroom.